22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. 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 And are not afraid to say it.
And are not afraid to say it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is BlackWestchester.com presents the People Before Politics radio show every Sunday 6 to 8 on InTheMixRadio.com, giving you real talk for the community since 2014. This is episode 199. 1 week away from the 200th episode. And I'm proud to announce we have special guests already confirmed and lined up, like County Executive George Latimer and Senate Majority Leader Andrea Stewart-Cousins. They will be here next week in the building. Along with them, we will also have our all our co-hosts, previous and current. They will all be here talking about their favorite show, their favorite memories on the show. I'm hearing Mount Vernon Council President Andre Wallace will be in the house. Yonkers Mayor Mike Spano may drop through, and there may be any number of other surprises. We will also be on for an extra hour. We will be on from 5 to 8 instead of 6 to 8. It's going to be a big celebration, and we welcome all of y'all to check us out. Of course, we are still, if you want to be a sponsor for the show, hit us up. You can do so electronically. I'm about to put the link on real quick. So anybody who wants to make a donation to the cause can do so online right now. 1 second, trying to do 10 things at once. Copy, paste. Okay, should be there. There we go. That is the link to the PayPal. In the building, of course, as always, Lorraine Lopez today is, because of the weather, she's relaxing. She will be here next week. She is not here today. But we do have in the building the one and only Dr. Robert Baskerville, Ph.D., a.k.a. Dr. Bob, a.k.a. Brooklyn Bob. One of the original Hounds of the Baskervilles in the place to be. What's up, fella?
All right, I thought I was gonna have to dive over the desk for calling me Biff.
No
Biffs today.
I wasn't gonna do the Biff Baskerville today, but since you brought it up,
AKA Biff Baskerville.
Yeah. Shout to E, who came up with that. Bob's homeboy E. They came up with that. But yeah, this is the 199th show. There's a lot going on. There's a lot that has been going on. Of course, we talked about it extensively. The melee at Mount Vernon High School. Broken glass everywhere. Fat Boy and Mayor Thomas in the building like they just don't care. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Word up. Word up.
Okay.
I got that from today's Pugsy P. Pugsy P said that.
Word?
Yeah,
Oh,
Pugsy P and Carlos was rapping earlier.
Word.
You got to see the
Spit
video.
on it.
Yeah, you got to see the video. They did a little
Okay,
rendition.
I didn't even hear
They
about
did their
it. I
little
didn't see.
rendition earlier today.
Okay.
Word
That's
up.
what's
So we
Let me
had
check
that.
for it.
Dr. Bob wrote a excellent article on what's going on with the controller and the financial situation in Mount Vernon. I'm trying to pull that up right now as we're speaking, because everybody needs to check this out. You know, Dr. Bob, he contributes from now in time. You know, it might be, you know, once a year, because these articles be so extensive. You know, it takes him a while, intellectual conversation with Dr. Bob. But yes, he did a piece on pulling up the title right now because I want to read the exact title as is.
Gangsta Economics.
Yes,
Mayor
there you go.
Go on.
ahead.
No, you see the title, so you can read.
Oh, okay. Yes, I'm going to post it right now so people can see the article. It didn't come up on the screen though.
Okay, I
Hold
think
on.
the title is Gangsta Economics, Richard Thomas and the Manufactured Financial Crisis in the City of Mount Vernon. Something to that effect.
Now, what was that about, real quick, real briefly? What was that about? What was that about?
My essential point in the article, it's a multi-piece article that in subsequent editions will try to identify the root cause of the conflict between the mayor and the comptroller. But essentially what I do in part one is make note of the fact that it has been known for some time that the city's finances are in jeopardy precisely because Mayor Thomas has refused for some reason to file the 2016-2017 Urban Renewal Agency audits.
Yes. Maureen Walker also warned of that in her last year in office. She had a town hall forum in the city council meeting and brought the lawyers for the city and the control. You know, the control to explain all of that stuff. The people who file, you know, that she hires to file the stuff, they came and explained the necessary of that. Deborah Reynolds, the current controller, explained that in her thing sometime in December. She explained that if these were not filed by January 1st, I believe it was, that we would actually lose our credit rating. And everybody was like, yeah, right, you know, thought she was expounding. Now, I know that there is, you know, rightfully so, there's not a lot of love lost from either the controller and the mayor right now. Going back to when they were on city council, they will permanently never probably be on each other's Christmas card list.
Right.
But so to say that, to take the interpretation that she may have been exaggerating the facts or something to make the mayor look bad.
Right.
I think some people took it that, well, on January 2nd, as is pointed out in the article, we actually lost our credit rating in the city of Mount Vernon. It has not been downgraded. It has been withdrawn altogether.
Right.
So the subtitle is City Loses Credit Rating, No 2019 Budget Approved, the Controller Warns of Bankruptcy. The other thing she said, and that is pointed out in this article, that the city could officially run out of money and be bankrupt in May. Right now, there still has not been a 2019 budget approved. There is something coming up on the 22nd for the public to go over the budget. So hopefully this will be resolved. But just a forewarning, usually what happens is the city council votes on it, the board of estimates votes on it, the mayor, because he's not getting what he wants, will veto it, and then both entities have to vote on that again. And that's a couple of weeks or at least a month in that process. So we could be going into the end of February and still have no budget unless everything is sped up a little bit and we can get the elected officials to get on the same page. So
Right. And so one of my objectives was to try to independently confirm the comptroller's explanation. And as you noted, AJ, we were able to obtain comments, insights from independent experts with Moody's and with the Office of the State Controller. And essentially, they confirmed the basics of Comptroller Reynolds' explanation. You cannot have financials. I'm sorry. The credit rating agencies will not perform an assessment of a municipality's credit worthiness without the financials. And if they do, then you got a lot of much higher much higher interest rate that eventually we're going to have to pay. So that's part of an effort to shed some light on this matter. So yes, I wanted to be sure that everyone is aware of this. I also one of the reasons that I published the story when I did, everyone, is because I wanted everyone to be aware that Judge Kakesi, who is overseeing 3 Article 78 suits that have now been combined into one that address this issue, requested that all of the parties involved meet in her chambers on December 12th. Although there has not been a lot of discussion of this matter in our major newspapers, anyone who wants to go to the New York State e-court filing system online can readily obtain access to most of the major documents that have been filed in these cases. And indeed, when I was reviewing them, I noted or saw a letter that Judge Kakesi's clerk had sent to all of the parties asking them to come to her chambers so that she could resolve this matter in the interests of the public of Mount Vernon. For some reason, her invitation was ignored by, I don't know, either Rich, Deborah, or both parties. I believe on the 14th, the judge forwarded another letter, another party invitation to all parties involved, asking them to come to her chambers to have this matter resolved. And I actually think it was on, her call was for on the 21st. You know, even if the city council does and the city does eventually pass a budget, the question of the filing of the audits is still could remain unaddressed and unresolved. And if so, you know, it's still going to cause all kind of complications for the city's finances going forward. Moreover, at this point, AJ, and we've discussed this and alluded to this several times on the show repeatedly, there is reason to fear now that the city may well find itself saddled with legal debts and penalties from various lawsuits that the mayor involved the city in that could well break the bank. Thankfully, I have a number of friends who will discuss articles with me and call me up from time to time. Not all of them to agree. In many instances to kind of challenge me on some of my assertions, my analysis of the facts. And I did receive a call from one of my confidants who does take the time to, you know, try to offer up another perspective. And one of the things that he reminded me of yesterday was that the city's in for millions and millions of dollars from these lawsuits, from the legal fees that have been run up by the mayor's office as he has had these frivolous lawsuits filed against his counterparts in both the city council and also the comptroller's office, for which he mostly loses. So we ran up a lot of excess legal fees, and then on top of that, we're likely to be penalized in the millions of dollars from settlements of lawsuits that were initiated because the mayor decided that he wanted to shut down people's businesses, and like he did with OK Freddy's and Mega Beverage and Keela Tennis and Cupcake Cutie and whatever other places.
Sully's the auto repair place.
Okay.
He went in there, told Sully to leave, and locked the doors, and therefore, people who were supposed to pick up their cars and stuff, their cars was locked in the business and the whole nine. That was the same day as the last incident with Cupcake Cutie.
And you know, listen, I mean, Rich, Mayor Thomas portrays himself as a professional. We all know that he has excellent credentials, but he has not lived up to the standards of those credentials in his management of the city's affairs. And people in Mount Vernon better get it together. Now, let me just add one thing. For anyone who wants to get a clear, objective understanding of the budget process, County Legislator Lyndon Williams was nice enough to post to his Facebook page earlier today a pamphlet issued by the Office of the State Comptroller that lays out, it's about 30 pages, and it lays out the budget process. I started to take a look at it. I didn't complete it. I'd urge everyone to go to Lyndon Williams' page and see if you can download it if you want to, get an authoritative overview of how the budget process is going to work as we try to seek for some sort of resolution.
Yes. Still working on the Facebook issue. So that means I know the people on Facebook can't hear me.
Oh.
But we're resolving that as we speak because we're live on Facebook right now. And people are hitting me. What happened to Facebook? I don't know. Facebook just be bugging out.
Well, we're going to be sure to get all these little bugs resolved on episode 199.
Yes.
Next week is going to be a heck of a show.
Absolutely. So that's what you're hearing. Jamie Pessin also posted something about the BOE and the contract, a public hearing. I think that's the one that's going to be on the 22nd.
Right.
To alert people about that. So.
And I'd also remind everyone that summary and full preliminary budgets are available for download, if I'm not mistaken. So if people want to actually take a look at the budget numbers to see if they make sense and or in keeping with what you think the city's budgetary priorities are, then I'd urge you to take a look so you can be an informed participant in the conversation.
Right. So again, for those who missed it, Dr. Bob's article was called Gangsta Economics. It was an intellectual conversation with Dr. Bob. This is part one. This was on the Mayor Thomas and the manufactured financial crisis in Mount Vernon. City loses credit rating, comma. No 2019 budget approved, comma. Controller warns of bankruptcy.
Right.
Yo.
Mm-hmm.
So then it was we had what was called a bomb threat in City Hall recently. Westchester County Bomb Squad came. Evidently, there was a suspicious package left in front of the building department. So the building was cleared, and after the building was cleared, somehow, people were entering back into the building. They smelled smoke. They went and to find the source of the smoke happened to be a file cabinet in the building department containing contracts and blueprints, etc., that mysteriously caught on fire. The fire was put out. We have not been informed on what has been destroyed, how much has been destroyed. I don't think that I'm being, and I want everybody to see, I don't think that I'm exaggerating or that I am being too much of an alarmist when I hope that this is just a coincidence, but this smells of a citywide, the city government, Mount Vernon city government version of the Watergate break-in, which was, the beginning of the end of Nixon's administration. There's a lot of suspicious parts to this. There are more questions than answers. We don't know what is going on, and this follows the building commissioner Dan Jones being arrested for drunk driving and driving with unlicensed, aggravated unlicensed operation of a vehicle. It was a city vehicle, and this follows that particular person, Dan Jones, of the building commissioner, the building department, attempting to shut down Cupcake Cutie for blueprints.
Right.
I'm not saying one has anything to do with the other, but and maybe this is a coincidence. I don't believe in coincidences, but I'm just saying this smells of a Mount Vernon size version of the Watergate break-in. That is just my opinion. And I think that so much more is going to come, and we need to find out what was destroyed. And, the residents need some answers. And Black Westchester will hopefully be able, along with the other media outlets, will be able to get to the bottom of it for you. So I just wanted to say that because, as I'm watching MSNBC and they're doing the talking about the Trump administration and possible impeachments, they keep talking and showing what happened during Watergate, and more situations like this seem very familiar on a citywide, on a local level, than what we faced, what the nation faced many years ago. That is my opinion. That is not fact, but that's what it's starting to smell like to me.
Well, I mean, listen, the way that the mayor is handling the budget, to me, is striking, bears a striking resemblance to the way that President Trump has handled the federal budget crisis. And they take holding the budgets hostage in order for both of the executive officers to get their way with the budget.
And I also don't think that I'm exaggerating when I say, if you look at what the controller has put out, you look at her letter, you read Dr. Bob's article, we may be facing a Mount Vernon government shutdown very shortly.
Right.
We're talking about the national level shutdown, which is affecting a lot of people on the local level, a lot of people working, a lot of people it's affecting a lot of people, but this situation could cause the Mount Vernon city government shutdown, which would be very unfortunate, especially because of what's going on the national level. I don't think the city could handle that, with already everything being cut from the national level. Yes, your mic is on. Everything being cut from the national level. I don't think that the city could stand that, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Because we're going to move on. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say we're already seeing that it's having a similar impact on our municipal services. Members of the municipal unions took the extraordinary step of publicly voicing their complaints about apparent failure to be paid for overtime at a press conference that the mayor organized the other day. I certainly believe people work, they need to be paid. So there's no doubt about that. My own feeling is that the municipal unions ought to put arm's length distance between themselves and the mayor, because he has shown no qualms whatsoever about using various individuals or entities for his own political purposes. If the unions have a complaint, and can't say that they don't with respect to the overtime issue, I don't know enough, I'd urge them to simply take their complaints directly to the city council. I believe in some respects that the unions are being used as a symbolic pawn in the mayor's battle with the control or over control of the city's finances. And I want to be very frank that I think that's precisely what the mayor's objective is, to try to wrest control over the authorities that have been given to her office under the city charter to serve as the city's chief fiscal officer, to maintain control over its various accounts, to ensure that all expenditures have in fact been made consistent with the budget, to file reports. That's the comptroller's job. That's not the mayor's job, and Mayor Thomas needs to stop misleading the people and insisting that he is authorized under the charter to be a signatory to the counts and everything else, because he's not, and it's just pure fiction. So I don't know, but I don't think that this matter is going to be resolved until people are willing to make an independent assessment of what's going on and let the chips fall wherever they may. If the comptroller's at fault, then the comptroller should take responsibility. If the mayor's at fault, then the mayor needs to take responsibility. And if the mayor's been at fault most of the time for most of the travails that the city has experienced, then the mayor needs to take responsibility for being at fault most of the time and to grow as a leader so that the city does not continue to confront all of these unnecessary problems. So, you know, those are my thoughts about the matter. I am now left to sort of flounder a little bit on air. So everyone now, I'm going to go from being smooth and confident Brooklyn Bob. Oh, no.
Introduce.
Okay. Everyone, we're going to have a little change.
Yo, so I'm trying to, because people can't see us anyway, so.
Oh, they can't.
No, because we're not on Facebook.
Okay.
So the people listening, so if you hear that, I'm trying to work that out. We're about to bring in our guest, Donna Nolan and her son. They have a upcoming tournament. They're going to speak about that and the loss of Michael Nolan, who was taken too soon and a victim of senseless gun violence in the city of Yonkers. And we're going to welcome them in right now. So.
Come on in, y'all. Now that I have you by my side, I think I can make it. So,
Thank you.
Donna, how are you tonight? It's
Good, Dr. Bob. How are you?
I'm fine. And well, for one, let me firstly just welcome you on air. You're a loyal listener. I know we have, you know, feedback from you all the time, and so it's nice to finally meet you in person. So let me, you know, give
Thank
a little
you.
handshake. And what's your name, brother?
Jimmy.
Jimmy. And
Yeah.
Jimmy, you are Donna's
Older son.
older
Michael's
son.
brother, yeah.
Right, right. So, listen, it's a pleasure to finally have you in studio.
Well, thank you. You guys have been a big supporter of my families from day one, and I want to thank you guys for that.
Right. Of course, I have mixed emotions, as I'm sure, of course, your family does, and many of our listeners who are aware of the tragedy that befell your son a couple of years ago. I know that this has spurred you and the rest of your family, your son and your husband, to really take up the cause of gun violence.
Illegal gun violence,
Yeah, illegal
yes.
gun violence. But before we get into some of the activities that you guys have been undertaking lately and the big event that you have planned, in the near future, for those of our listeners who are unaware of what exactly happened to your son, I'd appreciate, though it may be somewhat painful to recall it, I think it would provide some context
No,
for our discussion.
there had been the Tuesday before Michael was shot. There had been a drag race between two groups.
Right.
And there was some words exchanged. There was some words exchanged between both groups. That Thursday, like they always. Listen, I'm not denying my son was at Dunkin' Donuts on that Thursday night. I mean, I have 30 people that said he was there. Again, these two groups started having words.
That's the Dunkin' Donuts on Tuckahoe Road?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the
Yes.
one by my house.
Yeah, that's right
Yeah,
by us.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So words again were exchanged. A fight was broke out. Again, was my son there? Absolutely. I also have 30 people that said he didn't even know there was a fight going on because he really wasn't paying attention to it.
Right.
That was just Michael. 3.5 hours later, like he did every night. He'd go to Burger King, McDonald's, Wendy's, wherever he would
Make
go.
his rounds.
Make his rounds
Yeah,
to
hang
get
out.
something to eat. Just came through the drive-thru. For whatever reason that night, he let a friend of his drive the car. They came through the drive-thru. They parked. His friend got out of the driver's side and started heading into the direction where his friends were. Michael came from the passenger side around to the driver's side, put his food on the top of the car, grabbed his burger, and he turned. Was looking at his phone. 2 cars pulled up in front of Burger King, 2 pulled up on the service road, and the 1 car from the service road, the back passenger let off 6 rounds.
Wow.
hitting Michael in his ear. One grazed his chest, and one hit him in his thigh.
Pardon me, sorry. Keep going.
He was in Jacoby 3 weeks in a medically induced coma. He fought many surgeries. He fought hard, but
Right.
unfortunately, there was other
Right.
plans for him.
Right. You know, I, of course, read and heard about the shooting the day that it occurred, and I know that me, like so many people in Westchester County, you know, were incensed to hear of another act of violence at all, but, you know, senseless violence.
And that's what it is. It's just senseless. There's just, you know, people are going to have arguments, you're going to have disagreements, but whether it's with a gun, a knife, or whatever, there's no need for it,
Right.
you know, and it's just too much. It's every day. Every day you hear about another young, innocent life being lost at the hands of somebody that probably should have never even been out in the street to begin with,
Right.
you know, but they don't, you know, there's so many other ways you can reach out to the young people, you know, and I think that that's what frustrated me so much with Damon's daughter, because she was doing such a positive thing. Like, let's show the positive, you know, let's try and teach them, or like reach out to them and say they don't need to go that way. But we are very lackadaisical judges, DAs, when it comes to illegal guns.
Right.
You know, like, if you check the database and you go through the 5 boroughs of Manhattan on a Friday night, if you take one person that's shot in each borough, that's 5 people. That's a mass shooting. But people look at it as it's not the same person doing it, or if they didn't pass away, but it's still a shooting.
Right.
You know, so we have mass shootings happening every day. And my heart goes out to everybody. I'm not trying to minimize all the mass shootings, because my heart goes out to all those people, but we have an illegal gun issue, and nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to address that. And what do we do, you know, to get a control on that? Like, nobody wants to talk about that. You know, right away we want to change gun laws and try and do this and try and do that when something happens.
Right.
Why don't we do it before something happens? Let's do something to stop the illegal guns. I'm not saying you're going to stop them forever, but let's make some attempts to do something, and we don't.
Right.
There's a saying, Snug says it, they have Snug in Yonkers, they have Snug in Mount Vernon, but they always say, when they have these rallies and stuff, and this is to everybody who's listening, you do not have to wait for it to hit your doorstep to get involved. Matter of fact, getting involved may prevent it from hitting your doorstep. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of times people don't get involved until, like, they hear your story and they're like, oh, you know, they feel your pain temporarily. Then they move on, and then they hear it again, and, you know, they deal with it then they move on. We all need to get involved now. We shouldn't wait for,
don't wait
because
for it to,
because you could be the next person on this radio show, or the next person trying to fight for justice.
never in a million years.
Right.
Never in a million years would I have ever thought that would have ever affected my family's life.
Right.
You know, I mean, here he was, 23 years old. He had been drafted to the Oakland A's. He had a job. He bought himself a car. You know, Jimmy was already, you know, out of high school a good couple of years. Joe had just graduated. I only had Nikki. I mean, everybody was doing their thing. Everybody was working and doing the right thing, you know. We did everything as parents to, you know, keep them busy, involved in sports and stuff like that. So, and you shouldn't wait till it happens to you. You shouldn't, you know, be out there. I've been to plenty of stuff, and you see the same faces over and over. And you just think, like, where is everyone? Why aren't you outraged that, you know, we are having this violence, whether it's Yonkers, Mount Vernon, wherever it is.
Right.
As parents, we should be outraged, and we should be out there screaming and yelling and letting people hear us. But when you get the same group of people coming all the time, it's just like, oh, it's them again. Oh, it's that mom again. You know, we know her story, and it hurts.
It gets a little aggravated. You know, I've been to many events, you know, I go to everything I possibly can. And Yonkers has a gun tip hotline that we, you know, has been successful, and I wish I got on it before my brother was shot. But since it has, the year after 2016 that he got, I got onto the program, we doubled the amount of guns taken off the streets of Yonkers.
Okay.
It went from literally 24 the year before to 52. Now, we just went around talking about it. If it was in a city meeting or a community meeting or down a school street or wherever, we were just going around talking about it. It's about raising awareness. I wish I was able to get onto the program before this happened, because I might have prevented my brother's shooting. You never know. But now this program has been very successful, and it's actually going statewide soon, thanks to amazing how Shelley Mayer and Andrea Stewart Cousins, County Executive Latimer also going countywide. They've been big advocates, but we got to keep pushing. I'm at again the people that don't think they're going to be affected ever, to getting them involved, getting the word out there.
Right.
So instead of succumbing to the pain and simply allowing yourself to be frozen in action, you guys decided to take some active steps to try to address the very scourge of gun violence that took your son, your brother's life. Can you tell us exactly what you've been doing in that time and the activities? What's the primary focus? Name of the organization? Things
We
like
started the Michael Nolan Scholarship Fund, and over him, we give 8 scholarships every year to Yonkers Public School students. Since then, we've had quite a few events. The first event, we had Mariano Rivera come, where we had over 700 people come out to the event. We've had him honored at Yankee Stadium on the field. They had his picture. They gave us his jersey from Oakland A's. Then we also have our own events. We do a big softball tournament, big basketball tournament. They're growing. Actually, I had to increase the bracket this year. Now we have 15 teams from all over. I had teams traveling down from Syracuse. Mayor Peekskill is bringing down a team. So it's growing.
He's actually on his way right now.
Oh,
He'll be.
He'll be Rainey.
He's on his way.
He's a great man. Yeah,
Yes,
he called me himself. He said, "I would love to put a team into your tournament." And so of course. And he said, "Anything else I could do? Anything if you want to come up here to do stuff, let me know." But he's a great man. Just like I said, Mayor Spano has a team in the tournament, and every year it's growing. And we're just gonna keep pushing, raising advocacy for my brother. Illegal gun violence, anything possible to help protect these people. That's what it's about. We all live together. If it's from one side of Yonkers or the other side of Yonkers, wherever it is, we're all here together. So might as well make the best of it. Because, like I said, never say this will never happen to you, because it possibly could. You never know. Like, there's people we've come in contact with and became great friends with that have lost, children and siblings, and now they're communicating together. They lean on each other. But it's a matter of raising awareness so that these people don't have to come friends because of unfortunate incidents.
Right.
No, it's a group you definitely don't want to keep adding mothers to it.
No.
That's for sure. It's definitely a group I never thought I'd be in, and it's one of the hardest things you have to do every single day. Regardless, I've had friends who have lost their children for different circumstances, and you just know their pain, like I just look at them and I know, and I've had friends who have never lost kids, and they've been great. I love them to death, but they don't honestly know, and sometimes I feel bad because I don't want to, bring them down or make them depressed, but it's hard, it's something I have to live with every day, and there's not a day that goes by that I don't just cry, because I just think of so much was taken from him.
Right.
He had his whole life ahead of him, and it's hard. It's he arranges all the tournaments and stuff like that, and I just annoy all the politicians. Yeah. Anybody that'll listen to me, I tell the story or make them depressed, but it's hard. Get it out there. It's something I have to live with.
Well, everyone but.
We try to keep our father away from everything.
But Dad, we understand.
No, he goes around whenever there's, in the beginning, whenever there would be something, if something did happen in Yonkers, he would go around and, put all the gun buyback cards up.
Mhm.
We try and keep him
occupied.
Occupied.
Well, I mean, needless to say, your family has the sympathy, empathy of most of our listeners.
Everyone
but.
Try to keep our father away from
Unfortunately, we
everything.
too.
But
Dad, we understand.
No, he goes around whenever
the pain
there's,
of gun violence. I can
in the beginning, whenever
tell
there
you
would be
that,
something,
as
if
many of the
something did
listeners who
happen in
know my
Yonkers,
story and are
he would
friends
go
with me
around
know,
and, put all the gun
I
buyback
lost two
cards up.
brothers well, I lost a brother to gun violence
Occupied.
in the city of Mount Vernon when he was.
Well, I
still
mean,
19,
needless to say, your family
in the
has
closing
the
decades of the
sympathy,
80s,
empathy of
and
most
subsequently
people.
lost a second
Everyone
brother.
but.
Unfortunately, 5-6 years
But Dad,
after
you
that.
know, we
And I can
understand.
tell you
Really.
that they are still an absent presence in my family's life.
Big time.
You know, it's really only recently that the weight of their absence didn't hang over
I mean,
family
needless to say,
holidays.
your
Like
family
my
has
mom used to cry, you know, every Thanksgiving, Christmas,
Everyone but.
because
Especially
you know,
versus.
yeah. We were just laughing yesterday about my brother Frank, who had a chicken pox, and now he had a chicken pox mark in the middle of his head, and you know, so we fully understand. We'd also like to hear.
And I just want to, and then, not to interrupt, I just, since she's not here, Lorraine Lopez also lost two
Yes.
brothers to senseless gun violence in the streets of Yonkers. So,
Yeah, I remember Lorraine, I remember both brothers, but I
yesterday about
specifically remember
my brother Frank,
um,
who had a chicken pox.
what had happened to her
chicken
first
pox
brother.
mark
And
in the middle of his head, and you know,
It's a horrible thing.
so we fully understand.
You
We'd
just gotta
also
keep,
like
you
to
know,
hear.
trying to, like I said, raise awareness. I actually I go to many different places to speak about my brother, about different things, advocating. I've gone from talking to politicians, universities, hospitals, high schools. I was just in Brooklyn 2 weeks ago talking
specifically remember
in a high school. Now I've even gone to Valhalla prison and talked to the inmates. And when you have somebody that's doing time in there and they break down
we
crying,
fully understand.
it's you
We'd also like
get
to
to
hear.
that. You know what? That's what helps me. I just want to help people. You know, when you have a kid that comes over and says, "I never really thought of it that way." It helps you. That's what keeps making you go forward and change. Doing whatever you can to just get it across to one person. And that's what I asked my brother Nick said to me one time. You can't save everybody. I said, yeah, but if I can save one person, I can change one person's mind. That's all that
how I
matters.
look at it. If you
All that
can
matters.
get that one kid that'll say, you know what, I don't want to live my life like that. You know, I don't want to be on the streets, and I don't want to have that gun. I'm going to turn my gun in. Then to me, it's all well worth it. No, we're not going to change the world. The world is what it is. But if you can get that one kid to listen to you, then to me, it's all well worth it.
I give you all the credit in the world.
That's how I
Another
look
friend
at
of the
it.
show, Kenneth Chamberlain, I say
Get
that to
that
him.
one
His father
kid that'll say, you know what,
was gunned down by the White Plains Police, you know, and
I
it was
don't want
supposed to
to
be
live my life like that.
medical
No, I don't
call,
want to
and
be on the streets.
you know,
and
he ended
I
up
don't want
losing
to
his,
have that gun.
getting
I'm
his
gonna turn my
life
gun
taken.
in.
Former
And to me,
Marine,
it's all
former,
well
you know,
No, we're not
the
gonna
correction
change the
officer,
world.
and
It is what it is.
I was just saying, Judge Armstrong, shout out to his daughter. She's working on a book. She just interviewed me, and I was just talking to her about that. I was like, I would love to think that I could be as positive as he is, starting the Westchester Coalition for Police Reform. But on the other hand, no one would really blame him if he was on some real F the police stuff right now. I mean, the police took his father's life, and he still sees those same officers in the street. I was just saying daily. You know what I'm saying? So I can imagine. I know it's a different situation, but any person who has dealt with gun violence or a victim of gun violence, to be positive and to go out there. And when we had Nas Duncan on this show about her son, you reached out to her, and I always applaud y'all for the way y'all all collectively y'all come out and y'all support. You're not just claim, speaking for your son now. You're speaking for everybody, and you're there for those other people. So I seen you in action, and I mentioned Kenneth because I've seen him in action. The same, you know, he's on the front line with everybody. So I give y'all a lot of credit. You know, I hope I never have to know what that feels like, to be honest. But that you reached out to her could be as productive. If I had to, I could be as productive as y'all come out.
I feel bad for Nas. I know it's for
speaking
her
for your son
to have
now,
to
you're
walk the
speaking for
streets and
everybody,
not know.
you're there for those
You know,
other
and
people. So
I've
I've seen
talked to
you in
her,
action,
not
and
know,
I mentioned
you
Kenneth
know,
'cause I've
what
seen him in
happened.
action. The same,
I don't know. Sometimes you wonder, are you better off knowing who did it and that, you know, that they're locked up, or not knowing who did it? It's I think about a lot of things with him that night. I often wonder, did he know what was going on? Did he ask where I was?
If I had to,
I seen him at 8:45 that night. I talked to him and everything. I have to just saying, I love you. No matter what, always with my boys until this day. It's always, I love you, Mom. He said, I'll be home in a little while. I said, all right, kid. I said, I love you. He said, I love you more. I'm the apple of your eye. I said, yep, you got it. And at 12:30, to get that phone call, and I shot in the ear. I'm thinking, like right here. I woke them up. We went over, and when we pulled up to Burger King, and I seen all those cop cars no matter
there.
what.
It was like one of those scenes from a movie when you pull up
Yeah.
and it's just quiet
And
and you see
you
flashing lights.
just hear a pin drop, and I was like, "What that?" Like, what are you doing? And I remember two of the police officers that were there happened to know Michael. He played ball with them when they came walking over. And they were just like, "You need to go." And I'm looking, I'm saying, "Is his car, his stuff?" Like, I woke them up. We went over, and like I said, I can't change the world, but to him, if I can stop one parent from feeling what I felt that night and what I continue to feel every day, then I'm just going to keep fighting every day and doing whatever it is I can do. And I don't know if I'm making any changes. I can only hope, but I won't stop. I know that.
I definitely won't.
So, one of the strands of your effort to,
I can't
as
change the world,
with the
but
Memorial
if I can
Foundation, is
stop
to
one parent
sponsor sporting
from
activities
feeling
that are
what I
going to
felt that
try to
night
keep
and
young
what I
people
continue to
involved in
feel every day,
positive stuff.
then
Yes.
I'm
Kind
just
of-
going to keep fighting every day and doing
Are there
whatever it is I
are
can
there
do.
additional
And I don't
activities
know-
that you guys
I don't
Yeah,
know
we,
if I'm
sponsor
making
as well? Because
changes. I can only
I
hope.
see we got a lot of information about gun back.
and I walked in and out.
So,
Did you speak about the one that's
one
coming
of
up
the
right
Yeah,
strands
we
of
have a
Did you
big
address that
softball
one?
tournament in July.
as
We do.
with
We have
the
over 20
Memorial
teams that
Foundation
come out.
is
It's
to
all day event at
sponsor
Good Field here
sporting
in Yonkers.
activities that are
We
going
do a
to
big basketball
try to keep
tournament that's
young
actually
people
next month,
involved in
February 23rd at
positive
Lincoln High
stuff.
School.
Yeah.
We have, like I said, teams from all over Harlem.
Are there
Yonkers,
are there
you know,
additional
Sing Sing
activities that you
Correctional
guys
Officers want to get a team.
sponsor
It's
as
a
well?
good
'Cause
event. and
I
it's-
see we got
it
a lot of
brings people
information
together.
about gun
Okay.
back.
And like I
And I
said
walked
last
in
year,
and
you
out.
had one
So
team
speak about the
being
one that's
sponsored by
one of the
Shelly Mayer and
strands
other
of
coaches,
the
team from Slow Bombs. You know, and they're playing together, and that's what we want. We just want everybody to come together and have a good day for my brother Mike. And everybody loves it. I actually have an overwhelming amount of teams that want to get in this year. I have about 6 teams on the
Are
waiting
there
list
are
already,
there additional
with a
activities
full
that you
bracket
guys
of 15 teams.
Okay.
So it's growing.
we got a
And
lot of
then
information
also
about-
in September we're going to do a big golf tournament. I can't give all the details yet because I have to cross all the T's and dot the I's, but it's gonna be a nice event. It's gonna be a dinner. Like I said, we want to increase the funds we give back to the kids.
Right.
When we go through these applications, you feel the stories. Some of them just jump out on you, and then when you meet the kids, they all tell me it's not about the money for us. We want to represent your
Okay.
brother Mike.
Right.
So when they say that, it means a lot. They want to represent somebody that they look up to. I work in the school. I had a kid come over to me and said, "I was a big fan of your brother. He's in the 5th grade right now. At the time they have him in the 2nd grade." So he remembered that, and I gave him a hat, organization, and made his day. So like I said, these events they help a lot. It's not about the money. And then we do a few other things like the Mimi McLean event here in Yonkers, and then National Night Out with the Yonkers Police when they go to the 4 different precincts. So we're getting the word out there. And it's just whatever we could do to help, we're gonna do.
Okay. All right.
Now, so the big event that's, and I know we've talked about it via Facebook plenty of times on messengers. So the big event that's coming up is the February 23rd basketball tournament.
Which is
Now,
a lot of fun. It's a lot.
so tell the public how they can get tickets, because obviously it's
Well, yeah,
for
everybody
public
you can
attendance.
get them at the door, before whatever.
Okay.
You can look on www.michaelnolanmemorialfund.org.
So the big
All the
event
information is on there.
and I know
Or you
we've
can see
talked
us on
about it
Facebook,
via
Michael Nolan
Facebook
Scholarship
plenty
Fund,
of times on
where
messages.
the
So the
messages
big
go
event
right
that's
to
coming
me.
up
I'm
is
always
the
posting stuff,
the
updates,
February
sponsorships,
23rd
everything you possibly think
basketball
of.
tournament.
And
Now,
one of the things we're most excited
So
about. My
tell
brother's
the
organ
public how they
recipients
can
come to these events.
get tickets. 'Cause
Okay.
And they
obviously,
spend
wow.
the day with
Yeah,
us.
everybody
Yeah.
get-
You know,
which is
my brother saved 6 people's
quite
lives.
poignant, I'm sure.
And when they come and they just see what
So the
he
big
represents,
event-
we don't tell them what
I
they're
know
walking
we
into. So when they
talked
come,
about
they
this
get, wow,
being-
this is bigger than we thought. We actually had the
big event that's
Mike's
coming
right
up.
kidney recipient come to the softball tournament, and he flew in from Chicago just for the day.
So
And he
tell
came
the
to the
public
event.
how they
He had an
can
amazing time. But
get tickets. 'Cause
the
obviously,
basketball tournament, it's a great day. It's a lot of fun, a lot of running around, but it's definitely worth it. Like I said, we have plenty of great, people that volunteer their time. The Yonkers Fire Department always comes out. They always show support. They're always playing in it. Yonkers Police is big. They always support us if they're playing in it, if they're a sponsor. Mayor Spano's a big advocate, big help with it. And it's just a great day for everybody. It's
We
a
may
great
be the
day,
brains,
lot of
we
fun,
may be
lot
just the
of
looks
running
behind
around,
this,
but
we gotta
definitely
give
worth it.
props to
Like I
Big
said, we
Jim,
have
cause
plenty of
Okay.
great,
he's always
people
there,
that volunteer their time. The Yonkers
he's,
Fire Department
he
always
does a
comes
lot.
out. They
He
always
gets,
show support.
he does.
I
He does a
see
lot.
Big Jim prefers to remain behind the scenes.
Yeah, we
He's
wanna be
patient.
behind.
We've been trying to
he does,
woo him to come on the set, but he says no.
He does, he does.
I don't think there's enough airtime for that.
when I seen him when y'all came to Cupcake Cutie, and I said, I'll see you in 2 weeks or whatever it was. He's like, no, not me.
No, he does, he does. He has his own, he does a lot. He struggles every day.
I see Big Jim
He cries
prefers to
every day,
remain behind the
he's,
scenes.
He's worked with
We've been
everybody.
we've been
Anybody
trying
that
to
has
woo
anything
him to
do
come
with
on the
Mount
set,
Hope
but he says
Cemetery
no.
knows Jim.
I don't think there's enough airtime for that.
When I seen him,
There,
when
like
y'all
everybody
came to
wants Jim
Cupcake
to
Cutie,
take care of their
and I said, I'll
plots,
see you
and
in 2
he
weeks or
makes sure
whatever.
everybody
He's like,
around
no,
Michael is
not me.
taken care of. Yeah, no, he does. We'll does. just keep him around. He has his own, he does a lot. Yes, actually near Michael.
I see
You
Big
said
Jim
that you
prefers
did
to
people
remain
hear that,
behind the
so
scenes.
Right near Michael,
We've been trying to woo him to
the
come
lot
on
number
set,
that
but
he's
he
in, we
says
actually
no.
have Shamoya.
Oh,
Shamoya is
Shamoya.
actually, yeah, Shamoya is right by him, and then there's another young man. He was actually, it was a home invasion in the Bronx about 2 years ago, and he was actually killed by illegal gun violence. Yes, Shamoya is right up by him. We actually see her. Well, he sees her mom up
They said
there.
that people didn't hear that. So
They're buddies. Right up near there, Michael. but yeah, Shamoya's not too far from Michael.
The
lot number that he's in, we actually have.
So
Oh, Shamoya.
Actually, yeah, Shamoya.
I'm curious because
is right by him, and
y'all
then
were
there's
nice enough to
another young
provide
man
us
who
with
was
some
actually- it was a home invasion
relevant literature, and one of the things that you provided for us was the a flyer outlining the buyback, the gun buyback program that's here in Yonkers. Can you tell us a little bit about this and whether the foundation's involvement in it?
Well, our foundation not directly involved.
I'm
but
curious because
every time we go to an
y'all
event,
were
we put it
nice
up, the
enough to
banner.
provide us with some
Yonkers Gun Tip
And one of
Hotline
the
was
things
started
that
back in 2011.
provided
The
for
Yonkers
us
Police
was
and Chief Hodges,
a flyer
Hodges,
outlining
created the program.
buyback, the gun buyback.
If you have
program
a
that's
gun
here
and you
in
want to
Yonkers.
do the right thing with
Can
it,
you
get
tell
rid
us
of
a
it,
little bit
you
about
call the
this
program.
and whether the foundation
914-377
involvement
guns.
in it?
And after answering a couple questions,
I'm curious because
the police officer will come
y'all
pick
were
it up,
nice enough to
and after being checked out, you'll get a pin for Chase Bank, and you get the $5 cash. Like I said, they asked me to come on board, which I was very proud to go on board. And
So you're kind of like a spokesman for the
Kind-
cause,
Yeah,
the
that's
family's
it. That's
advocate for
those
the
are the
know,
cards that
like-
he would go and put
like
around
my
whenever
father,
there was some kind of situation. He would go and put them
my
all up
father
in
would go
that
put them up,
radius.
and then me and Chief Hodges would go around talking to different groups. And like I said, there's been times I've even gone on my own, and I've talked about this gun program over and over and over. And like I said, previous year, I think we had 20-something guns taken off. And when I got on the program, we had 52 guns taken off of the streets of Yonkers. So then me and Chief Hodges, we took it to Senator Shelley Mayer, Senator Andrea Stewart Cousins, and we're going statewide with it. And actually, it's in the works right now. Hopefully soon it goes into state law that every city, every county in New York will be able to have this program in their city. It's very effective. And we also see that after we do our events, we put up the banner, we speak about it, and we talk about the effects of it, gun violence, that there's an increase You know, and actually Yonkers Police, you know, they've been amazing to us. Actually, they took me under my wing, their wing. They're like big brothers to me now.
Right.
I'm forever grateful, and I know my family is, you know. But you know, we just went out there and we just started talking. Like, we went to the kids, we went everywhere, and that's what it's about. Just going out there, talking about it, and it's working. They actually said that they seen an increase, that they feel that I connect better with the younger generation. And like I said, I just want to get illegal guns off the street.
Right.
If I can get every single one, I would love it. But you know what? Like, it might not be possible. You know, like I said, if I can get across to one kid or one person in general, to turn that gun in and make them think twice, then it's worth it.
He said many times at different areas when he's gone to put up the flyers, put up the cards, and he'll have people stop and just say, you know, like, we don't want this anymore. We don't want to, you know, I'm going to call, or they know somebody, or, you know. So, like, when you hear that, it makes you feel good because you feel like you are making a difference, you know? And of course, once you hear about something, you know, something that goes on, yeah, it's like, but for all those people out there that'll stop and ask him questions, like, you know, I don't want to get in trouble or anything, or I just want to turn it in. So it does make you feel good because you do feel like, okay, you know, unfortunately, we've had to suffer a loss. But I'd rather take all of that and gear it towards helping other people than to just sit back and, you know, do nothing.
I've actually had people write to me, ask me if they could turn the guns into me. They would feel more comfortable. I said, listen, not really my position to do it, but if that's what it takes, I'll have to contact the police, and then, you know what, we'll go from there. But
Feel like,
that's
okay,
how involved we are.
Right.
Like, we want to make a difference. Like,
we've
we
had
don't
to
want
suffer
nobody
a
going through the pain my
loss,
brother did, or
but
we
I'd
could
rather
actually,
take
you
all
know.
of that
Right.
and gear it towards helping other people than to just sit
Our
back
next guest
and,
came. I want y'all to stay,
you know,
since we brought him up. I want him to
I've
join
actually
the
had people write
conversation.
to me,
Okay.
ask me if
Welcome,
they could turn the guns into me.
Peekskill
They feel
Mayor
more comfortable. I said, listen, like,
Andre Rainey.
not really my position to do it, but
How are you?
if that's what it
Oh,
takes.
and for everybody, and I forgot to give y'all
I'm
official. And I forgot to give you. I forgot to give y'all. I forgot to give the Nolans their official people before politics. Welcome. That's why I brought you in, because they said you had a team. So I said,
Looking forward.
Thank you very much. Thank
well,
you.
let me just say, welcome to the mayor, who may have the best handle and the best jump shot of all the mayors of the 43 municipalities of Westchester.
Let's hope to see you on February 23rd.
But he definitely not. I definitely will say, I seen by video, he definitely not scared to get out on the court with his constituents though. And he'll put it on video. Yeah. That's why. But he puts up though.
Okay.
Rule number 1: don't foul the mayor. Like.
So if he's playing, we got to get Mayor Spano to play for Yonkers.
I would like to see some of the. I would like to see some of the mayors. Maybe Mayor Rich Thomas. But he definitely not. Maybe the two mayors. Some of the mayors. Some kind of celebrity tournament with some of the mayors.
Put Damon on the other
Put it on video.
team.
Oh well, no, we can't put David in.
Then we know the mayor will be fouled.
Very hard.
Yeah.
If
There'll
he's
have to be
playing,
police
we got to
protection on
get
the
Mayor
court for that
Spano to
one.
play for Yonkers.
So again, so the tournament. Well, I have all the tournament is when
February 23rd.
Where?
At Lincoln High School here in Yonkers.
And supporters can get tickets online at the Michael Nolan Foundation website.
Yeah, Michael Nolan Memorial Fund, or they could just show up.
Then we know the mayor will be
Mayor
fouled.
Rainey said Facebook issue today. So when so all of your people, you can tell them on your Facebook to go to www.inthemix radio. Mix has 2 X's. inthemixradio.com. And they can watch the video or hear the audio
Supporters
live
can get tickets
on the app.
online at the Michael Nolan
We had a
Foundation.
Facebook issue. Hopefully it'll be resolved next week on 200.
We know the mayor will be fouled.
So we need that to be live and direct on every format that it can be on. And I apologize for those who've been trying to tune in on Facebook. And those who said that there was an echo on the app, I need you to let me know now. Do you still hear the echo? Because we pulled it up in the station and we don't hear the echo here. So I'm not sure. I know Damon has told me he heard an echo, and 1 or 2 other people said there was an echo on the app. So we think we've solved that problem. Trying to figure out the Facebook thing before the show is over. So Any questions I didn't ask y'all that y'all want? Any information y'all want to get out there or that I didn't ask you? You know.
No, I guess, like I said, I think my biggest thing is just as a community, I think it's very important to just get out there, be involved, and just focus on our youths. I think they got, they have a lot going on, and I think that if we, as a community, as adults, act like adults and show them, that they can take the right path, that they have choices out there. There's positive things you can do with your life. Like I said, I'm not looking to change the world because I know I can't do that, but if I could save one mom from having to go through the pain that I go through every day, then to me it's all well worth it.
Of course. No, it's not easy going through it. We put on brave face at times, and people ask me, "Aren't you angry?" And I said, "Tell me, I am angry. You just got to channel it the right way and try and do some good, because obviously if we didn't do anything, we'd be giving them what they want. If we retaliated in a bad way, as much as you want to, you can't, because then you're just gonna be."
And a lot of people listening
just
feel that way. Like, I would do this. I would take it to the streets. I would.
But then
I would do this. Like, how you? It's not going to do that.
It's
like,
not
going to
change anything.
It's not.
It's
and
not.
And if anything, you're gonna put a label on the person that you lost. If I retaliate any type of way, I was gonna put a bad name attached to my brother. We already lost him. Why would I disrespect him in that way? Why would I want to cause my family any more type of grief or stress or pain? So you got to try and do some good with it and channel it the right way. And like I said, I'm always gonna be angry, but you know what? The Hulk has to hide it.
Right.
You got to channel it. You got to do good, and this is why we keep pushing forward.
Even when we would be going to court, and a couple of people would say to me, like, "How did you let that mother give you that look, or suck her teeth, or tell you to go where she told you to go?" And I said, because the minute and we all know I do have a temper, everybody knows that, but the minute I lose that temper, now it becomes the baseball player's mom flipped out and she did this, and for what? At the end of the day, doesn't matter. I'm still gonna not have my son, but now I have more problems. I have legal problems for myself, because now I'm going to get arrested, or somebody's going to get hurt in there, and I'm responsible. And I just look at it as, you want to know why your kids are in the situation that they're in, because they see it coming from you. I'd rather, just hold my own, and I take my temper out at home.
Well, I see that you're definitely not shy about speaking truth to power.
No.
As in the case when there was some arrests for illegal gun trafficking in Mount Vernon. You were very vocal on Facebook.
Yeah, I took a lot for that day too. But I was just asking a question. Could it have been possible that the gun that he was selling, one was from Mount Vernon, one's family had connections with Mount Vernon? I was just asking a simple question. I wasn't accusing anyone. I was just asking a simple question.
But I mean, it was a question that needed to be asked, and I guess had we asked that question, we'd be picking on, the administration. You're the family. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
it was just a question.
And I've seen you've written some editorials and some other stuff as far as that's concerned, and I appreciate the work that you do, and I just wanted to congratulate you. And we are here at People Before Politics and Black Westchester. We are here. I actually covered the story September 18th, 2015, and then I met some of y'all at Grace Baptist Church for a forum, and I walked up into you, and
yes.
a lot of people, I knew that y'all weren't in a place to speak that day. I just handed one of y'all my card and said, if y'all ever need us.
And you guys have been there, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the support that you've given my family.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the reasons we started Black Westchester, to uplift some of these situations. And y'all, now the person who killed your son, but they were caught. They were
there was 4 arrests.
Right.
So
in your situation there was, but then there's been a lot of situations like Nas who
that breaks
are
my
still
heart.
fighting for some resolution or something. And we keep those situations alive. Kenneth Chamberlain situation, fighting for justice. we keep those, and that was one of the main reasons, for us doing this. So, and I appreciate y'all coming. I mean, the support. You're always watching. You're always
What would I do
contributing.
on a Sunday without you guys?
Yeah, so I
Sometimes
definitely,
it's just Dr. Bob, and I say hello to him, and I'm just listening to him talk.
and shout out to Dr. Bob while I was going through all this, trying to figure out the Facebook thing. Dr. Bob, I've been getting comments. Dr. Bob was holding down the show.
Yeah.
Well,
Single-handedly holding.
did my
'cause
best, I have to say.
I was MIA for the first hour.
I-
Bob actually hosted the show for the first hour by himself.
it was a poor imitation of A.J. Woodson, but I did my best.
Did a good job.
I realized I prefer to be in the support role.
No doubt, no doubt. Like I said, we're going to keep sharing the information. We're going to keep sharing the flyer for the
Thank
event. We encourage everybody who can listen, who is listening, and who will see this later in the archives on Black Westchester, go out, support this event, support this cause, and definitely support this family and other families that are fighting the fight for the end of gunless, senseless gun violence in the streets, in our streets. And I always say here, we need to stop looking at this as a territorial thing, like, oh, that's just Yonkers, that doesn't affect me, or that's just Greenberg, that doesn't affect. Oh, that's only Mount Vernon. No, if it affects all of us, if it affects us, it affects us in Peekskill. If it happens in Peekskill, it affects us in Mount Vernon. And we all need to. This is something we all need to get involved in the fight, and we do not need to wait for it to come to our doorsteps to be involved. Actually, you probably prefer to be involved now, so it may not come to your doorstep because it very well could be you sitting right here. So I wanted to applaud you, and we stand with you and support everything that y'all are doing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes. And now I'm segueing into our next guest, who we've been trying to get here for a couple of weeks. Since the first time, been here a bunch of times when he was city council. He was the youngest, made history as the youngest city councilman in the city of Peekskill, and then first term, and then ran and became the youngest mayor in the city of Peekskill, making history again. But his title as youngest city council has been beat. It's been taken away by one of his running mates.
Vanessa,
One of his running mates,
Vanessa Agdella.
Yeah. So he no longer holds that title no more. But we wanted to welcome. This is his first appearance as mayor.
Yes, thank
As
you
mayor,
for welcoming me
yes,
back,
yes.
man. It's been a while.
Yes.
It's been a while.
So I know. Just getting right into it.
Yeah.
There was a reason you wasn't here last week or the other week
yeah,
that you were scheduled. And I've been dying to hear what that is. You said, "Yo, did you hear?" And I'm like, "No."
Okay,
And then me
yeah.
and David was like, "Well, what happened? What happened?"
Yeah,
So
yeah. We've been doing what we can in the city of Peekskill, man. They make sure they keep us busy up there. But we've had I think every city and especially in New York has issues with infrastructure and old buildings, old pipes and everything. And just this past December, we had an issue with one of our public housing areas, Dunbar Heights.
Okay.
And they had a gas pipe leak underground. So Con Ed, told us the housing authority had to turn the gas pipes off until this issue was fixed. And they said it'd probably be about a week. And long story short, when they went underground to check the pipes out, they found more than they had anticipated. So they had to shut the gas off completely for much longer, to the point where it's going to take about close to $200,000 to repair. So the residents there are without gas, and all of the stoves there are gas stoves.
Oh.
Yeah, so the housing authority supplied the residents with these
Propane.
tops, these 2 tabletop
Right.
burners or whatever, and like microwave ovens. And also that gas has affected the consistency of the heat and hot water. So the heat and hot water was going off, every 2 or 3 days for a couple of hours at a time, until they actually scheduled somebody to stay down there where the boiler is, to stay and manage the switch, especially at overnight, because overnight hours is freezing right now. So you need your heat and hot water. So, we went out to Dunbar to talk to the residents, to inform them what was going on with the housing authority. Is a really big issue with public housing tenants and the director of the housing authority. So we're trying to rectify that. We're trying to not necessarily band-aid it, but try to make it go away to the point where they can respect each other and speak to each other and work with each other. So we went down there and spoke to the residents a few times. We had a dinner there for Christmas Day. Decided that we was gonna serve them a nice hot meal, and we, it was easier to deal with. But you have to understand their frustration, especially during this time of the year. It's Christmas, it's New Year's, and you got to worry about your heat cut off, and you can't cook that big turkey you want to cook because you got this microwave oven, you know. So, so last weekend, there was another organization in Peekskill decided that they wanted to put a dinner together for the tenants too. And they didn't, you know, publicize it on social media. It was kind of like they just went on people's doors and said, we're going to serve dinner too. And nobody from the council was informed. So I figured this was one of those moves where they don't tell the mayor and the council, and then the day after the event, they'll say the mayor and the council doesn't want to support this group, and the mayor and council's political and all this nonsense. So we got word, and we said we're going to go. We're going to bring some food. We're going to bring some volunteers. We're going to bring some blankets, some mittens, and scarves, and, you know, whatever else that we saw on the list of what the residents wanted. When I got there, it's a whole nother story. So I pulled up to Dunbar. I parked my truck. Had a couple of friends with me. Had these two Spanish women that they cooked baked chicken, rice, and beans, like a big pan of each. And I get there, and as I get outside of my truck, there's this crazy lady. I don't even remember her name. Some crazy lady, though. I don't know. She must have been high. I don't know what's going on with her. But she was there, and she's like, "You not welcome here. You ain't welcome here. I had to rent this place out." It's the community room at the facility so you not welcome here. So I'm looking around like, who's she screaming at? Like, I know she talked to the mayor. The mayor ain't welcome in Dunbar. Oh man, things have changed over the last 2 years. So, but I'm just like, no, I'm definitely welcome here. If anything, I'm definitely welcome here. We brought people, we brought food, and you know the fact that nobody even notified us was crazy. But I'm definitely welcome here. So when I walked up the steps to see, you know, what was going on inside, she literally she had somebody stand in front of the door and told them, don't open the door for the mayor. Don't let him inside of here. Wow. Yeah, so I was, I asked, are you supposed to be security? Like, what's this about? And he's like, nah, I'm not security. I just don't want to, I don't want to get into politics. So long story extremely short, this crazy lady, I can't remember her name, but she asked another lady that was there to call the police on me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, on the mayor. So I'm like, this is interesting. Like, this is where I grew up at. Like, I know everybody here. So they called the police, and the police came. And, the lady said that she paid for the place. She rented the place. So the police said, well, if you rented the place, then you have the right to tell who can and cannot come in.
Right.
So they called the housing authority. Nobody answered. I called the housing authority. They answered. I gave the phone to the officer, and he said, the lady told him, no, nobody rented this place out. It's a public event for the tenants in Dunbar to have some hot food. I said, okay, good. So he said, Mr. Mayor, you're more than welcome to go inside. I said, I figured that. So I walked inside, and that's when I realized why I wasn't welcome. I mean, anybody that you could think of, I mean, people, if you ran against me, if they slandered me on Facebook, if they said something bad about me for any reason, they were in there that day. Mm-hmm. I mean, people that probably didn't even know Dunbar was in Peekskill was in there that day, but I wasn't welcomed. But it's non-political, So you always get the people to make statements and comments, I feel like when a person has to make a statement of what it's not before they make the statement, is something's wrong, you know. So if you woke up and say, this is not political, but we're not allowing you to come in. Like the fact that you just said it's not political, there's something near that just doesn't seem right, So when I finally got inside and saw all those people, I kind of felt like maybe I shouldn't be here. Maybe it's not safe for me to be here. So, we dropped off some mittens and stuff, and the ladies that came with me with the food, they wouldn't let them in either, simply because they came with me. So we ended up dropping the food off to the homeless shelter. But so that it was just a very interesting Sunday. But the good thing out of it is, the residents in public housing are finally getting the attention they deserve, from everybody. It's been neglected for years. And I can't even just say my predecessor, but numerous of administrations haven't really targeted supporting public housing tenants. And now one facility is a victim of the results. And it's just a matter of time before the others do too. So now it's like everybody wants to show that they care about public housing tenants more than the mayor, and I'm just like, well, go ahead.
Well, I just want
go ahead.
I want to say to the residents of Peekskill, as I say to everybody who listens to our show, like, it's not the people that come around when there's the photo ops. It's the people that you see every day, all day, that are there, that do the work. those are the people, especially if they're running for office, especially if they have
it's
anything.
election year.
It's
They're
election.
starting early.
Yeah.
They're starting early.
It's election
Like, we got to get. The thing is, if the people that didn't like me during the campaign like me now, it's like my uncle said, it's like the Malcolm X effect. You got to get people that like you to turn against you, and convince people to turn against you. That's the only way to win.
Right.
Because there's we did a Christmas truck run on the fire truck with Santa Claus, and I won't say his name because he's a great guy. But when we asked, he heard a lot of things about me on social media, and he was like, some of the posts that are about me he'll like, and this guy. I read some of the posts about me like, damn, they voted for him. Like,
right.
How did Andre Rainey get over all of that? Doing crazy. So, but when we actually got to ride in the truck together, we spent about 2 or 3 hours riding around the city talking. And when we were done, he was like, yo, you're a really nice guy. Like, I'm really glad I got to, spend this time to talk with you. Like, I see that you got a level head. And I was like, listen, a lot of people who talk about me don't even really personally know me. And there's people that I see on Facebook and social media, like, they'll tell you, I don't really have anything personal against you. I just don't agree in the same policies and politics as you. So I say, well, what is it that you don't like? You don't like kids having education? Do you not like affordable housing? No. What is it that you don't like that I like? And it's like, well, we've never even sat down and had that conversation. So what is it? And then that's when you catch people like, well, you just our differences. What are they? Tell me something that you want done that I don't like.
Right.
And that's you can't really get.
You're
that.
not up for election this year, right?
I will be if I run.
Oh, okay. Okay. So your term is up to this year.
This will be the end of my term this year. Yeah.
So I can't get out of you if you're running though.
I just say this.
This is the show that
as long as I keep reading these comments, I plan on coming back.
Okay.
I plan on coming back. The more I read on this nonsense, the more motivated I am.
So would you like to, for those that know, so how was your first term? I mean,
it was.
Did you? Well, then a lot needed to be changed. The culture needed to be changed, and I was covering the elections.
Yeah.
It was a very nasty election. Yeah. So, what would you feel were some of your successes that you were able to?
Yeah. There's a list of things. I mean, this council. One thing I can say about this council is we all had our. We ran as a team. Everybody on the council, the first 3 that are there, Vivian McKenzie and Kathy Talbot, they were there, before when I first ran for council, and I ran with them. And the others that are there, Councilman Smith, Councilman Fernandez, and Person Agudelo.
They were all here.
I ran with them when I ran for mayor. So everybody on the council except Patricia Riley, I ran with during one of the campaigns. So when we got on the council, we all had our own priorities to say. So we kind of focused on what we wanted to do. We really were only working as a team when it was time to be a team. We're like the Power Rangers or the Transformers. Like, we're all doing our own thing, but when it's time to come together, we put some stuff down. But because of that, we were able to accomplish a lot. And one of the things I'm proud of is the new development that we're bringing. It's going to be right next to the Kylie Center. Everybody knows how I feel about the Kylie Center. That was another thing that we got the whole gym refurnished. The upstairs and downstairs of the Kylie Youth Center, and this developer that's coming in now wants to put an affordable housing building right next to it. And because of the location, he's able to qualify for a grant that could put up to $1.5 million into the Kylie Center. And he's also committing to put in $140,000 to the Kylie Center if the grant wasn't to go through, just for capital improvement. And the project that he's developing is going to be a mixed income project from 40 to 80% AMI. And we're working a negotiation deal out now where the city will get 25% preference. So, yeah.
I'm sorry, Mayor. Can you explain to us what is the significance of the 40 to 80% AMI?
Yeah, so it's
something like a more.
Yeah. So to explain it in a better way or easier way to understand it, it's the income of the rent. Your rent would be based on your income, depending on your qualifications. So you can possibly get a 1-bedroom at 40% would be about $950 a month. Versus an 80% would be about, 1 bedroom, probably like $1350 a month.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
but it's based on the Westchester County AMI, so annual median income.
Okay.
So the good thing about that is, like I said, we're working at now where we get 25% preference. So we can say we want the first 25% units to go to first responders, firefighters, and police officers, or teachers and city hall staff, or public housing tenants, or whatever the case is. We get to choose who that first 25% goes to. Then the developer chooses the other. And each category from 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 will be 20% also units. So
Oh, okay.
it's the first deal that we've ever had like this. On top of that, we've already negotiated with the developer to come out to the community. He's done his first town hall with the community. So he's getting people's concerns, questions asked, but not having a representative come out there or having a representative come to a council meeting. He's actually coming to talk to the people. Yeah, and he's answering their questions directly with his staff, saying, okay, this is what we're trying to do. And so far it's been well received. But people don't like the actual design of it. They say it looks kind of ugly.
So one thing that caught my attention, and if I heard you right, the developer is putting up money towards the Kylie Center.
Towards the Kylie Center, yeah.
Now, why is that important when you have it? Because I know other communities have had these concerns. Developers just come in, they don't contribute anything, to the community. But they're just putting these developments up that may not be the best for the community.
Right.
Why is that important for them to be contributing to the community?
Yeah. Well, one thing that we learned, especially, is part of the reason why I even ran for mayor in the first place, because of the Ginsburg project. But I'll surface that later. One of the things that I learned is people tend to care more about the community when they're involved. So when you prioritize certain things and you express that to people that are coming in, whether they business owners or developers or just new residents, when you show them what your priorities are, they tend to fall in that category as well. So you know what? This is the mayor of the city, and he really cares about the youth. What can I do to contribute? What can I do to help? And it's, we have a Kylie Center, we have a youth borough, we have playgrounds that need help. One of the things he also offered to do was to fix the playground in Dunbar. He's looking for ways to help out with the community, especially for the youth, because the majority of the council right now, that was their main focus, and I think it always will be. So
I think that's very important. Like I said, that's been a complaint in other communities.
Yeah.
About developers.
But they come in. It's just normal. They come in, they build their project or open their business, and that's pretty much all you see. And they make their money, and they just go to the next city and do the next thing. But this is. I can also say he's funded one of the most successful after-school programs we've had in Peekskill for the past 4 years. Him and his father, they funded a not-for-profit organization which funds this after-school program that's been successful in the last 4 years. So he's already done a little work before he even came with this project.
That's definitely good to hear. What if I know you usually have a list of things you would like to accomplish, and as a lot of others who became mayors, on the outside looking in, the job is much different when you finally sit in the seat.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So what were some of the things you would like to have done, or maybe that you would like to still do, or you maybe
one thing I say I'd like to still do. I listened to my man talking earlier. It's just bringing civility in City Hall was one of the major things we wanted to do, because you get so many
because I was invited to several
City
Hall meetings back. They told me I need to be there when we first came, 2014. I was told what a toxic.
So many, we were doing good too. The first maybe 5-6 months, people were coming to the council meetings. Hey, giving cookies and stuff. I had a plant in my office one day. Somebody delivered a plant as a gift. But once the season comes, that's when things change. So, but keeping that civility in City Hall was important, and organizing for. We've heard a lot of complaints from developers and business owners when they come in. They feel like they get the runaround. We want to develop here, but we can't because it takes 8 months to do a 4-month project, or it takes 2 years to do a 1-year project. So, how can we change that? So, we put some things in place to make it easier for the developer to know the step-by-step moves he has to take with the building department, zoning department, planning department. So they come in, they get the process and knock it right out, And another thing that scared us about that is, when you have a young African-American mayor in your city, and it just looks different. One, he's African-American. Two, he's not the average age that we expect to see when we see a mayor in the city. So you want to make sure that not only is something like that put in process for the success of the city, but you don't want to find out that people are making things harder because you're in that seat. You know what I'm saying? So developers are coming in, and they're being pushed around for 9 months, and then when you get out the seat, everything just goes through automatically fast.
Right.
So we try to make sure that we stay focused on that, especially because it's like if we're working on something now, if this development takes 1 year, this one took 1 year. How come the one I'm working on is going to take 3 years? And it's even smaller than the other two. And so we had to put something in place to make that, that work out, So.
Well, I see, I follow what's going on. So I see when you're a young African American mayor, you deal with things that other mayors don't deal with, like being screamed on, telling you can't have hip hop played at your birthday party.
Oh my God. Yeah, I was told that. When I first won the election, even some people that I really look up to are like, listen, you're the mayor now, so you can't have a birthday party like that. You gotta.
No, I was actually gonna go.
Yeah,
You invited me.
right.
But I was sick for Christmas.
Yeah, listen, we'll do it again.
And you invited me. I was gonna go. I was like, oh man.
I was trying to be there too. I just said, make sure they play some Biggie.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that. But it was they say you're the mayor now, so you gotta you can't really promote that you listen to rap, hip hop music, and you can't have birthday parties where people are dancing and drinking. It's like, well, they voted for the wrong person. I'm gonna listen to what I want to listen to.
How come he got an invite and I didn't? I'm the brains.
You know what? Now that I know, I'll reach out to you first.
Yes, you have to go through mom first.
But yeah, they try to change you, and that was one of the things that I thank God for my Uncle Wendy, because he told me when I first ran for council, he said there's gonna be things about you that you're gonna hear things about you that you never knew. There're gonna be things said about you that you never said. You have to know who you are before you get into something like this. It's not necessarily about having just thick skin, but it's knowing who you are, because they will test you, and they'll put stuff out about you or your personal life. Not only does it get out there, but it gets fabricated. And it gets they had something on there back in October. When I read it, I was just like, you can't be serious. Like, I gotta respond to this, and I get to the point where I feel bad because I'm still the old me sometimes. Like, if y'all believe that, then vote me out. Like, if you believe I did that,
nah,
vote
if
me
you
out.
was the old you, that ain't what you say.
You got
being polite right now.
You got the idea though, right? But they put something out in October last year. Like, the mayor was driving in Yorktown. He had smoke coming out of his truck, so he got pulled over by a Yorktown police officer. The officer pulled him over because there's weed coming out of his truck, and they arrested him because he hadn't paid his child support. When they brought him to the Yorktown police station, because he was the mayor, they let him go. Now, this is on social media. Now, my first thing is I haven't smoked weed since I was in college in 2003, so that's just crazy. But when was I ever pulled over for anything in Yorktown? So one of my closest friends, I grew up with him since we were 3 years old. His mother works for the Yorktown police, and she saw the post. She was like, I'm at the police station. I don't have any records of you being arrested. What is that about? Politics. When you put something out there, whether it's true or not, people know how easy it is to get people psychological. So they just simply post something out there. And then when I looked at the comments, 180 comments. But the scary part is you got people fighting for me, and you got people trying to say that it's true with no evidence. So it's like, Andre, you got to make a statement saying that you've never been in Yorktown arrested, you don't smoke weed anymore. Why I got to make that statement? Do you? You know what I'm saying? Like, if I say something about you, you gonna make a statement tomorrow? Like, if y'all really believe that, then that's up to you. But there's no need for me to fight with everything anymore. Because I realize now that that's just what they're gonna do. And they try to discredit you for being young. They try to do anything that you say or do in this position, especially at this age and being African American, is challenged. So when somebody says something is wrong, if you say, you know what, I love the fact that it's snowing here today. Oh, so you hate people having fun in the sun? It's like,
well, we catch heck.
How did that get translated into that?
we catch heck for not being so. Your nickname is Noodle.
Noodle. That's a stage
Noodle.
name, yeah.
New NOO. So the article was there's a new NOO mayor in Peekskill. Mm-hmm. You know how many calls I got that it was grammatically incorrect? and I'm not supposed to do that, and I can't be using those kind of for real. You know the hate that I got, seriously. And some of it was from the Peekskill Facebook pages, like, that know that that's your name. Like,
they've either kicked me out of those Peekskill groups or blocked me from being able to comment. Like, it's just, I was just like, so we ended up, matter of fact, during my first campaign, a partner of mine, Ibrahim, he came up with the idea to create our own group, because in every group that's here, when you respond, they either delete your comments or you got the same 6 or 7 people just attacking everything you say, twisting your words, taking them out of context. So we just ended up creating our own group, and the group is citizens creating a better Peekskill.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah,
because I belong to all of them. So yeah.
So there's certain groups you'll see people just talking about me. It'll be the same 7, 8.
Yeah, because I posted that you and tomorrow you will be the keynote speaker at one of the
the
the Slater Center, Martin Luther King, the annual
forward to that too,
breakfast,
yeah.
and you are the keynote speaker. And people were saying, after what happened yesterday, this is after from last Sunday. I can't believe Martin Luther King had integrity, and they got this guy. Those are the comments to my post.
But that's the thing. Like I said, they take it out of context. Like the comments are referring to the mayor going to Dunbar. It's like, why does a mayor think he could come to Dunbar during our event? It's like this. Some of y'all have never even seen this part of town. You know, before I was in office, during my time, and when I leave, I'll be over here helping these people. You know, so it's not like whether I'm the mayor or not, I would have been there anyway. You know, if I wasn't the mayor, I probably would have got an invite. You know what I'm saying? Like, I probably would have been a part of the help us out, you know. But, you know, I mentioned that, too, a couple of days ago at another event. It's like the Juneteenth committee, you know.
Right.
During the election year, you get these same people, some of the exact same people, to be honest with you. During the election year, they'll come down to the Kylie Youth Center and cook free fried chicken and, you know, give out quarter waters and Capri Suns and grape sodas. But non-election year, they won't even come out to the dinner, you know, the chicken and waffle dinner. Like, there's just no participation, no support. But during an election year, we're going to go extra hard to show people. And that works, you know, because I remember it worked for me. You know, I used to tell myself, any mayor or anybody running for office, if they came down to the youth center or the youth borough and talked to me and talked to us, I would support them. You know, I didn't really always look at research and see what they stood for, what party they were, or what they were about. But if you come down here, that means you care about us. So I'll support you. And I completely understand why people do that.
Right, and that works. And you know, it works in the south side of Mount Vernon, you know.
Yeah.
You know, free hot dogs and the pop-up block party.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
out of nowhere.
Yeah.
This is official. Non-election, we don't do that no more. You know, we'll do it next year.
Yeah. So I mean, you know but that's why we on the show we try to educate people.
Yeah.
To be more educated voters. We definitely, because we grilled you when you were running. We grilled you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So people would know who you are and what you stood for. You know what I'm saying? Like we do that to everybody. So you know, at least the listeners they can watch and you can see, and you can hopefully make a more informed decision on who this, because we're voting for people. And again, no disrespect to any particular person, because I've named the names before. There was a person that was running for mayor in Mount Vernon. And when her name was mentioned, 60 to 75% of the people, female, who said they would vote for her said, "That's my girl." That's why she's going to make a good mayor? Like, that's not a reason to vote. Because that's my girl, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Like a popularity
or, you know, voting for Hillary because she was a female, or voting for Barack because he's black. Like, you know, I understand, you know, you want the first, but sometimes that's not the reason. Just because they sometimes look like us, don't mean that they for us. So you know what I'm saying. So
I remember you said those exact words too when I first came in.
It should be for the person that's gonna do the most for the city.
Right.
And Democrat, Independent, Republican, whatever it is.
And the voter has, and I'm also against, and I piss everybody off who runs on the ticket, and I'm like. Don't just vote for this ticket because they're here. Vote for the best qualified person in each position. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have them here because I have them here, but I'm not endorsing anybody. You know what I'm saying? And don't look at just this ticket and they're the popular ones and you just vote for that ticket because they're the popular one. Vote for the best person in each position. And I believe the residents and the voters have to do a better job of, and you know, we try to do our share to educate them. Now what you do with the information is up to you. You know what I'm saying? And we ask the tough questions, you know, but
so
the
don't
people
just vote for them just because they're on Black Westchester?
No. Don't just vote for them because they're black. But I will. But I will say,
some won't show up to Black Westchester.
Right. Some won't show up to Black Westchester. But I will say this though, the first couple of years, most of the elected officials that did show up won. Most of the ones that were told not to come lost, and the only ones that we had, like when Christopher Johnson was running in Yonkers, and his running mate also came. Like, there's no way both of them can win. So, but you know what I'm saying. And when we had the debate here with all 6 candidates, there's no way all of them can win.
Right.
But even in the last election, in the primary, Andrew Stewart Cousins, Biaggi, and Tish James were that pre-primary show.
Congratulations.
Like, you know, so we have right. So, and she will be here next week.
Awesome.
For the 200th episode.
Nice.
And everybody who I keep telling everybody, we don't have Facebook today, but everybody, we are still looking for sponsors for the show, so you can hit us on PayPal. You can email us at blackwestchester@gmail.com. I'll give you all the information if you want to be a sponsor. We may be getting T-shirts for sale and all that other stuff too. But it's going to be a big celebration. We'll be on next week at 5 instead of 6. We'll be on 5.
You wouldn't give me the 200th episode.
Well, I had to try to. You know what? There's a lot of people that some haters out there.
Listen, I'll be lucky to appear on air with him next week.
Right,
hey, listen to
Like,
him,
Bob,
listen
I don't know if we need you this week, man.
No, actually,
There's no mic for you this time.
I'm gonna have to get the laptop set up.
right?
Because
Because actually, all the former and current co-hosts will be here.
Nice.
Cynthia Turnquest Jones, Lorraine Lopez, Dr. Bob, Rashad Bilal will probably be here. Both Tashas are invited, Tasha Young and Tasha Diaz, Priscilla Ichi, and there's been a few, Brenda L. Crump. So they're all those, the invitation has been invited to all of them. And, they come in and give their little 5 minutes of what their favorite memory was or their favorite show that they were on or maybe their favorite interview. So we're going to do some of that. At 6 o'clock, we will have, I believe it's 6 o'clock, Andrew Stewart Cousins will be here from 6 to 6:30, and she will be talking about now finally making it as the Senate Majority Leader and what that means for New York State. Awesome. And then we will have at 6:30 the head of the county executive, George Latimer, who will be giving us kind of a review of his first year and his vision for the second year for the county.
And we're gonna meet them all outside with Michael Nolan T-shirts.
Right.
Right.
So and then and we're gonna have Atif and Brandon. I have to introduce you to this young man that's getting involved with us. He's from Peekskill. He could not make it today, but his name is Brandon Park. And he's going to be representing us in Peekskill. So it might be sometimes you have an event, he will be the person going there and getting the pictures and stuff.
Okay, I look forward to that.
So he will be here next week. He couldn't make it this week because I was trying to get him the time that you were here, then you couldn't make it. He just told me last minute he couldn't make it. But I wanted to put y'all face to face while y'all were here, though. But he's going to be my eyes and ears in Peekskill.
There you go. I'll definitely keep in touch with him.
Yeah. And shout to Marvin Church, because Marvin Church is also represents us in Peekskill sometimes. He takes the paper out there. And
that
Brandon
knows everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
And Brandon will be the next person bringing the paper out every month and all that stuff. So it will get, any areas that we need to have placement in any stores and anything, we're looking to have it all through Peekskill.
Definitely.
And since I got you here, we're looking for some Peekskill City advertising. Since I got you here, can we get some advertising for the city of Peekskill?
Most definitely though.
I wanted to say congratulations on the firehouse.
Oh my
gosh, of it on
that
your
thing
Instagram.
Oh yeah, I see the pictures.
It doesn't even look real. Like it's like a big toy. Like it's I'm telling you, like it's beautiful when you walk inside.
New firehouse.
New firehouse.
They've been working on that since 2008.
Wow.
They started negotiations and planning in 2008, and Tessa's administration and then Mary's Forster's administration came up with an idea to fund it. And during Catalina's administration, they were pushing it through to try to hurry up and get it, get the funding right. So they had to go through like the demolition and everything, and then through our administration, we were able to finalize the last pieces of it.
And I hope to see you this year. I saw you last. I think you were there last year. The new Westchester Black Political Conference. They're having the second annual one. I believe it's the second. It's the.
I thought it was the 6th.
The 6th.
Yeah,
we're at WCC at the second. It's the 6th. It's the 6th. It's the 6th. Yeah. Definitely like to see you in the house.
Yeah, that's gonna be nice.
I missed you last year. I was trying to take a picture with you. You came in and went out. You was gone. Like they was like, yeah, Peekskill Mayor Andrew Rainey's here, and I was like, where you at? He was like, oh, he just left.
You just walked out.
So,
I tell you, it's funny.
I'm trying to get papers for the paper, pictures for the paper for you.
Man. Yeah. I'll definitely stick around, but there's so much going on.
Be sure to speak into the mic, Mr. Mayor.
They can't hear you.
When someone said they couldn't hear you,
okay.
Yeah, you can pull it up closer to it.
There's so much going on. I love to share the story of like I get invited to so many things to speak now as a mayor of the city, and we partnered up with this organization called Surviving NICU, and it's like for babies who are born premature. So the city of Peekskill is now partnering up with them. And I went to their event last year. I want to say in November for the first time, and they reached out and they said, we heard about, how you work with the children. We'd like you to come to this event just to see what it's about. Maybe the city could partner with us, and you could say a few words. So I did some research, and I was like, wow, this isn't Peak. They do this in Peekskill. So I went to the event. I spoke. I got to meet some of the kids, parents and families, and people who are trying to support the organization. And I'd asked them, like, I'm glad that you chose Peekskill as a place to do this and recognize this. And they said, well, we're glad that you made it. This is our 4th annual, Surviving NICU fundraiser. And I was like, where was I at for the first 3? Because I would have definitely supported something like this. But it was like, people come when they can. But there's so many things going on that you're notified of when you get to this position. And it just shows that a lot of people are really involved in the community that you just don't know about, and I think one of the goals now is to try to get some of these people on the same page.
I want to say also to compliment the city of Peekskill. Of the 43 municipalities of Westchester, only one of them, the police chief, has actually come on People Before Politics radio show. And that was Peekskill's police chief.
There you go.
The only one in 43 municipalities.
How you doing? Shout out to our chief. We have a new chief there now too. He's been there for almost a year.
Okay, so it's not the one that came up here.
That's
who's the new chief?
Chief Homie is the new chief.
Okay, what's the other one?
The other one you probably met was Chief Johansson.
That's who we met.
Okay,
and then and then he had invited Damon to come up, and there was the NAACP did a.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember hearing about that. It was at the church, I think.
At the church, yeah.
Okay, I remember that. I missed that.
So we
one.
came up there for that, and all that. But he was the only chief that really came to hear and answered the tough questions.
That is awesome.
You know what I'm saying?
Maybe I can come down here with our new chief. He's
actually,
cool.
we would love that because we criminal justice reform, better police, community relations, which is what that was about. Is definitely what. And shout out to the Peekskill NAACP.
Always.
When we did our 1-year anniversary issue of Black Westchester, all the local NAACPs, including Peekskill, Nourish Shell, White Plains, Greenberg. Sorry, I think there was 1 or 2 others. They all took out a big full-page ad congratulating us.
Nice.
Peekskill was definitely one of the NAACPs.
Yeah. Peekskill and NAACP has done a lot in their little 2-3 years.
Well, actually, to be honest, Greenberg, White Plains, Greenberg. I've been at a lot. They've been very active. I see them.
Yeah.
Next to them, I think Peekskill might be like the most active one.
Right.
Next to White Plains, Greenberg, and then New Rochelle. I hear their name a little bit, Yonkers. I hear their name, but Peekskill, I like some of the things that they were doing, and it was like. Because when I first in 2014, it was like the only NAACP that I seen doing anything was White Plains Greenberg. Like Lena Anderson was there. There was a protest. She was out there at the protest.
Yeah.
She was out there at the press conference. You know what I'm saying?
She moves too.
And then
she moves.
And it was representation from the Peekskill NAACP at the conference last year too. The Black Westchester Black Political Conference last year. So this is the second annual one, and it's going to be at Nourish Shell. I'll post the information up next week. I don't know if I have the flyer handy right now, but I'll post the information up, and it'll be all over our social media. Everybody needs to come out and support.
Yeah, please.
I know two of the. I didn't get the list of the full. What is it, panelists? It's a panel, right? The panelists. I think Nourish Show, City Councilman Jared Rice is one of them, and I think Civil Rights Attorney Mayo Bartlett is one of the other ones. I'm not sure who else is there. I know the keynote speaker will be the legendary radio host Bob Law.
Nice. Okay, I didn't see that.
And I believe Dr. Bob is going to be doing a presentation. Yeah, or something like that.
He's staying nice and humble over there.
From what I'm hearing, I hope I didn't just put him on the spot, but that's what I had heard was going to happen.
No, AJ knows because I went over with him. We even talked about it. He done helped me with the script, and so yes, I'm hoping to. I'm hoping to make the presentation.
Because when Damon was supposed to give me the list today, that's what he told me. He was like, Bob Law, the 2 names, and Bob's going to do what he's going to do. So that's what he told me. So that's all I know now. But next week, it's February 2nd. What's that, a Saturday?
Yes.
Saturday. It's actually 2 days. I think the first day there's like a meet and greet at Alvin and Friends in New Rochelle. And then the second day, Saturday, where they have the conference, the actual conference, the panel discussion and everything will be at and I forget the name of the church in New Rochelle. It's on Main Street. I'll have all that
So
information.
I am looking at the flyer. I
Okay,
forwarded to you.
Oh, you forwarded
text.
to me.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
at
text.
500 Main Street, and that is Pastor David Holders.
Who was one of the panelists last year.
Yes, who was one of the pastors.
and
last
That
definitely-
is the 2nd, right? February
Yes,
2nd,
it is.
okay.
Yes, I was mistaken. It's February 2nd from 1 to 5 p.m.
Yeah, and shout out to David Holder because sometimes we're hard on black preachers. They claim Martin Luther King and they in the spirit of Martin Luther King, but when the issues are facing their communities, sometimes I do not hear enough from the black preachers of those communities stepping up against racial injustice, criminal justice, police misconduct and stuff, and corruption in the city and throughout Westchester. Not to pinpoint any one city. I don't see enough of that. David Holder is one of them preachers. Like Damon is not afraid to say it, and one of them law enforcement people that's not afraid to say it. David Holder is one of those black pastors that will speak on the issue and is not afraid. He's not the only one, but I definitely had met him for the first time in last year's conference, and I was very impressed with him. Now it will be at his church this year.
Nice.
The space is going to be bigger. I think we had at Westpac and White Plains last year. It was a bigger space. Expecting a bigger reception. I'm going to post a flyer. I'm going to have it all up tonight because tickets still available, and everybody need to go get their tickets, and you can get it online and support it. It's February 2nd, and like I said, I'll post everything up. Check Black Westchester, they'll be there, and I'll definitely be sending it to you.
Definitely, yeah.
And we're inviting everyone. It's the Westchester Black Political Conference Year 2, the 2nd annual conference, and I think it's very important for us to have stuff like this. To get some of our because last year, what I was impressed by last year, because when I wrote the story, you had so many groups there that were there, like the NAACP from everywhere, not just Westchester, Spring Valley, and Rockland County.
All over.
You had
yeah.
You had Rockland Guardians there. You had people from Long Island that were there in the city. Who was the keynote last year?
So Minister Hafiz was
Well, he
there.
was on the panel, but who was the keynote though? Was it Fulani? Was Dr. Fulani?
Yes, it was Dr.
Dr. Fulani was
Yes,
the keynote last year. You had all the Westpacs, the Urban Leagues, like you had all these organizations, Indivisible,
Ready,
Pelham Progressive Women, like all of the Westchester Black
I just
political
just
women,
go for mayor again. I gotta be honest. Listen, I don't live up there, but you know what? He
Well,
just seems like a down to earth guy.
Thank you.
And like
Thank you.
the simple fact is that you're so about your youths. Like to me,
I think that day we talked on the phone when you called me on the phone
Thank
for like 25 minutes.
Oh yeah,
We
the
was
first
talking.
time we talked.
Yeah, first time we talked. He was just on the phone for like 25 minutes talking.
So, this is people for politics. This is what we do. So, can we get an official announcement? Can we get an official announcement? I'm just saying.
the first time we've met him.
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
has
Can we get
nothing
an
to
official
do. I just
announcement
feel
on the
like
people?
you're,
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm running for mayor of the city of Peekskill
There you
2019.
go.
It's
Oh,
happening.
there you go.
There you go.
They did it. It's
You heard it here
happening.
first. You've heard it here first.
Now, if you see that on Westchester News 12 tonight,
Yeah.
don't be surprised, all right?
You know where you heard it first.
There you go.
So that's what's up. We got to have you back on. So again, and we're gonna have one of the things we're gonna have Andrea Stewart, Senator, Majority Leader Andrea Stewart Cousins talk about next week, is the new change in the election cycle.
Yes.
Because it used to be the day after Memorial Day was when they first started getting petitions. People they might not know that day is February 24th.
Yes, they changed it.
The primary used to be in September. And people may not know the primary is in June.
Yes.
Okay.
So the election season is upon us, basically.
But
go ahead.
can I ask you, so is the general election still in
November?
November?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
It's
we got
gonna
a
be
hell of a
long
Yeah.
year.
Oh, good God almighty.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a long year. Like I said, they've already, people have already started, trying to get people to feel like they care, which is fine, but it's part of the campaign process. You know, it's definitely part of the process that, you know.
I think I don't have anybody running that I have to help this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because there's your race, there's the Mount Vernon Mayor's race, which was very heated in 2015 and promises to be more heated this year.
Yeah.
There's 2 city council seats. So when you ran, the 3 council seats ran with you?
Yes.
So those 3 council seats are up again.
Yep.
And then there's I know the same year is also
County Ledge.
Spanos,
Yonkers
Spanos,
Mayor's
Spanos,
races this year, yeah.
and there's a couple of seats. I think maybe is there some council seats? There's some council
No,
seats.
council seats. I believe it's just the mayor's race this year.
Okay.
I think that's,
So you got a couple of
believe
mayor
that's-
Oh, that's
races.
Yeah.
interesting.
You got a couple of
Yeah.
mayor races, and I think this same year New York City has their race, right? Is their New York City race the same in the same cycle
Not for the mayor.
for the mayor?
No. He
Okay.
just got reelected.
Oh, you just got okay. I remember
I see.
covering that,
I
but
mean, Jemani, of course, will be
there's
running
Jemani, who's
for
been a
public
friend of the
advocate.
show and been on here, who ran for lieutenant governor, is
Yeah.
running for public advocate, and we're trying to get him back up here. Sometime way before the primary.
Yeah.
We're reaching out, putting it out on the airwaves. The candidate who won in the Bronx.
Ocasio-Cortez.
Yes.
Oh,
We
yeah,
want
Cortez,
you
yeah.
on this show. I
Oh,
got a
okay.
date for you. Putting it out
You
there.
think
Anybody-
Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez is tuning in right now?
You know what? She knows somebody who knows somebody who
That
knows
knows
somebody
somebody
who
who goes,
listening to this show.
check this link
we
out
are
real quick.
trying to get her on this show because we were impressed by her victory and since she's been in office, and
Yeah,
we
she's
definitely
making
want to give
moves.
her a platform. And you get in touch with us. You got the whole
And
2
she-
hours, so we
and-
can.
She's distinguished herself as an advocate for a number of serious policy changes, including more hiking our progressive
Right.
tax system so that more well-to-do people pay more money.
And we definitely trying to get Alexandra Biaggi back on the show. She's been on the show. Definitely want to get her back on.
Good
Like I
names.
said,
Good people.
it's 2019. We're pushing the bar. We hit our 200th episode. August will be
Congratulations to that again,
our
man.
5-year anniversary. July will be the 5-year anniversary of Black Westchester, and August will be the 2-year anniversary of the paper. So you know what I'm saying? At this point, it's like, we've laid the foundation. Dr. Bob, I have to thank him, has came in and handled a lot of more organizational and administrative things.
you need a team.
Working out some stuff like possible internship with WCC. We're definitely taking it up to the next level. Funkmaster Flex always say, "You're reaching. We will be reaching.
Yeah,
this
yeah.
year. We will be
It
reaching.
don't stop. Even when you get
There's
it, keep
nobody.
going.
There's nobody that I'm not trying to go after. We're gonna pull out some big names,
There you
but
go.
we're still gonna cover the small issues. And again, I know y'all hate to hear me talk about money, but the February issue's coming out, and you got till Friday to advertise. And it's your advertisements that keep our paper free for the community and keep this show. Making donations to the show, like I said, you can make a donation to keep the show going, and it enables us to give you a look at all your politicians, issues like what you're facing. Just bring people from the issues to keep informing the community. So we need y'all to come out, support us with your donation and your advertising. Friday is the last day to advertise to sponsor the 200th episode show next Sunday, and to advertise in the February 2018 edition. Now, I didn't, let me explain. December, we just released it digitally, but we did a small business, Black business edition. But since we only released it digitally, and since February is Black History, we will be releasing those, highlighting those same businesses that were in the digital in the February issue. So we're not going to do the traditional Black History where we're giving you the history of everything. You can read that anywhere. What we're going to do is give you as many of the small Black businesses, from barbershops to hair salons, accountants, professional services throughout the county. I'm sure I'm not going to get all of them, but I've spotlighted a lot of them, and there's more that I'm still trying to find out. And I think I wanted to give everybody a paper where they can have it, not just digitally, but they can pull it out and you can support. And I want to say you need to support these businesses. And speaking as a Black business owner, you need to support these Black businesses, not just December and not just February for the Black History Month. We need to support these businesses all year round. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of people.
Right.
We need to support. We need to support our own, and we need to support all our businesses in our community. I mean, this is Black Westchester, so we're highlighting the Black businesses because I don't think they get enough. So this specifically is for the Black businesses. But
That's awesome.
and so that will be the February issue. It won't be Black History traditional issue. Well, last year wasn't traditional.
Right.
I felt like everywhere you read about Martin Luther King having a dream and Rosa Parks freeing the slaves, so I gave you history like.
No, you meant Harriet Tubman.
What I say?
You said Rosa Parks.
Okay, yeah, I'm dizzy right now. Yeah.
Rosa Parks freed the slaves.
Rosa Parks sat down and Harriet Tubman freed the slaves. That's what I meant to say.
There you
So,
go.
but we gave you like Pam Grier, one of the first ones to have a multi-movie deal, and Run DMC, the first ones would endorse it. Like we've done so many more things since then.
Right, and you're showing more history.
Yeah,
too,
so we
not
showed
just the
we did that
traditional same
last year, and this year we're just going to highlight the businesses. So
That's what's up.
support that. Last day to advertise is February. It's Friday. So come Black Westchester at Gmail. Coming to the close of the show. Any last words? Real quick, briefly?
First, I just want to say, thank y'all for welcoming me back. It's been a minute, but I always enjoy myself when I come down here.
Well,
We're definitely going to be out there supporting the game. The Peace Skill team will come out and show what we do.
And feel free. I said this when you last. Feel free to when you have to address certain things.
Yeah.
You need to get the word out. Feel free to let me know
down.
and come on down.
Oh,
It's
most
an open door
definitely.
policy. Any last words for the Nolans?
Pleasure meeting you.
Likewise.
I'm glad you're running. Again, as always, I thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for always being there and supporting my family. Dr. Bob, seeing you in action tonight on your own was just
Wow. I will.
so much fun.
I wish I heard those words more.
You really did. I was watching
Well,
you.
Dr. Bob,
It's like
Dr.
you-
Bob hosted the first hour of the
Yes,
show by
if
himself.
I didn't-
Oh,
if
yeah?
I wasn't here
we had a
watching it, I
Facebook
would've
issue,
just
so I'm running
thought,
back
like,
and forth to the other
yeah.
room.
Oh,
And
okay,
basically,
okay.
he
Oh,
was.
so he held it down.
Yeah, Bob
And
was
he
the
was
host.
just
Very
And-
nervously, I'll add.
and did a very excellent job.
Yes,
Let me
I
say.
have to say,
Had
Dr.
to,
Bob,
yeah.
yes, you did.
You held
Thank
it
you,
down.
really did.
Yes. Last words, Dr. Bob.
For one, I want everyone to have
He used
When
the ball
every-
up in the first hour.
everyone to have a wonderful Martin Luther King Day holiday tomorrow. I hope we all observe, take time out to observe the legacy of Dr. King because it still speaks to important challenges that we confront as a nation. We are more acutely aware than ever of the things that divide us, and my hope is that we'll be able to overcome them because we're going to have to be more united in order to forge some of the solutions. So that's for sure. Other than that, I look forward to seeing everyone next week, and I thank the mayor and the Nolans for joining us on set.
Sure.
Thank you.
AJ, one thing.
Yes.
This guy right here, I want to say, tomorrow, big guy's turning 30 years old.
Oh, happy
Big
birthday!
guy.
Yeah.
30.
Big guy.
I love him very much, and he's been my sidekick.
There we go.
I just want I want to reiterate. Check blackwestchester.com for all the stories we talked about today, including Pixio Mayor Andre Rainey will be the keynote speaker at the 26th annual Slater Center Martin Luther King Breakfast. Oh, happy birthday! Yeah.
Big guy.
Crown
Very
Plaza,
much, and
66
he's
Hale
been-
Avenue, White Plains.
He's been my
Tomorrow at
sidekick.
8 a.m.
There we go.
Also, I want to highlight there will also be Dr. Martin Luther King Legacy Lunch check blackwestchester.com for all the stories we talked about today by the African American men of Westchester. Say that 5 times real fast. From 11:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. That will be at the Doubletree Hotel in Peekskill.
No, Terrytown.
I mean, in Tarrytown. You got Peekskill on the brain right there.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, and there's also something else. I got a flyer or something earlier about something else happening. Well, check your calendars, check Facebook, check. There's a lot of events
A lot of events.
for Dr. Martin Luther King. Those are 2 that you should come out and support. I am trying to find.
I know there's one at depending on weather at Mount Olivet Baptist Church tomorrow in Peekskill at 3 p.m.
Say that again. Repeat.
At Mount Olivet Baptist Church
Uh-huh.
in Peekskill.
Is that the church we were at for the for the thing, the police community relations was that?
Were you at that church? I don't know if that was. I think
It's like on the hill. It's like
yeah, I think you're at the Presbyterian church.
Okay, I just know the parking lot goes up. I just know
Yeah, I think that's a Presbyterian church.
Okay.
I know there's one at
Okay. Shout to them. Shout to them.
Olivet
But there are
Baptist
other events. I cannot find a flyer off the top of my head. Say that again.
at Mount Olivet Baptist
sent it to
Church
me, actually.
in Pete's.
But those are two events that definitely you should be at and govern yourself accordingly. There's a lot more events. I want to thank everybody for checking out the show. I want everybody for tuning in. I want to thank everybody, the sponsors, present, past, and current. Those who are getting ready to sponsor right now. And getting their checks ready. Thanks for Indivisible Westchester, who just took out an ad for the February issue. African American Men of Westchester, who took out an ad. TY tax the tax was it
Tax service.
tax service. I'll be they're one of the sponsors for next week's show, so I'll definitely have them on. But anyway, you could be doing anything else, but you decided to ride with us. This is Black Westchester Presents the People Before Politics radio show every Sunday 6 to 8 on InTheMixRadio.com, giving you real talk for the community since 2014. Next week is the 200th episode. We'll be on from 5 to 8. And again, we have two special guests coming, Senate Majority Leader Andrea Stewart-Cousins and County Executive George Latimer, with appearances from Mount Vernon Council President Andre Wallace. And you'll see all our current and former co-hosts. Until then, peace.
22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. 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 And are not afraid to say it.